Hello, my name is Mark S. And I have, of my own free accord, elected to undergo the procedure known as severance. I give consent to sever my memories between my work life and my personal life. I acknowledge that once the procedure is complete, I will be unable to access my personal memories whilst on the severed floor.
Say gratitude.
Nor will I retain work memories.
Hey!
Sorry, when I return home at the end of the day. I make these statements freely.
Hi, kids. What's for dinner?
We warned you.
About the greeting? You were kidding.
We hate it. How many reasons did we come up with?
8.
Good morning.
Hi, Mr. Milchek.
Mark, could I have a word?
Petey is no longer with this company.
I'm sorry, Mark. You guys were one of my favorite office friendships.
What happened?
We'd love to tell you, but unfortunately non-disclosure policy forbids.
I confer upon you the advanced role of department chief. Congratulations. A handshake is available upon request.
Thank you. May I have a handshake? Do I know you?
My name's Petey. I'm from work.
So, we're friends?
I'm your best friend. Nothing is what they say. I used to think it would take a monster to put someone in a place like that office. Especially if the person was himself. If you want to know what's going on down there, you'll find the beginning of a very long answer.
What's happening?
What is it we actually do here?
It's important your eyes be kind. Do you know how to make your eyes kind?
Hello and welcome to the periodic table of awesome. My name is Dion. How are you all? I mean,
Hi,
a greeting
I'm Jill
is
W.
a greeting is available on request.
Yes, I would like a greeting. I am David Q.
Hello, David Q. It is nice to meet you.
Or have you already met?
No, I would definitely remember that. I would definitely remember that.
And last person.
I'm Peter A.
Is that some sort of slang phrase? Peter A.
Peter A.
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 Is your
my goodness.
outie a Canadian?
What are we talking about? Wait, innies, outies, A's, work-life balance, the corporate drudgery. What are we talking
All
about
of these
today?
things
All
and
these things and
more.
Yes.
We are talking about the, I guess you could fairly comfortably say, hit TV show on Apple Plus, Severance.
I'm sorry, what's Apple Plus?
I don't know. Does it have a sound? Apple TV? Is it Apple TV Plus? I don't know what the fuck it is anymore.
No, but I mean, does
It's
anyone
just
have
Apple.
that?
Oh, Apple
It's a
TV.
subscription service. Anyway, yeah, okay.
Right. Sorry, did you have a sound effect for that? Is it a subscription service like Netflix, Dion?
No, but
well.
you've thrown me because I didn't have shit ready for that. Shut up. You're gonna get my Innie in trouble.
Well, fairly soon we're going to be taking you down to have a quick chat with the HR manager.
Oh, what do they call it? I forgot. What is it when
Yeah.
you're going to go have a chat to
Wellness.
Wellness. That's
Wellness.
right.
That's right. Oh, fucking hell.
I have a
of course.
scheduled wellness session. Oh God.
Oh.
Anyway,
Bloody is a scheduled wellness session right now.
hello to everyone on Twitch, and hello to everyone on the chat. Hello, chat. I wave that way because it's like they're there, but you're not.
Yay.
You're here.
Wait.
I should be like, hello, chat, but I don't know.
Wait, no, this
because
way. This
I feel
fucked
like
it up.
I feel like I've got two different lives that I'm living. I've got this life where there's there, and then there's this other life that's over here that doesn't work, and then there's a life over here I'm supposed to be paying attention to, And then there's the other. Anyway,
I don't know. There are too many lives.
too many
And
lives.
definitely not enough wellness sessions. I'm just wondering if at the end of all of this, we're going to get a melon party.
I looked that up on the internet, and I never want to look it up again.
No, that's lemon party. That is similar.
No,
yet fundamentally
no,
different.
worse, but kind of similar.
I just want to know if I do enough of these shows, will I get a waffle party?
Oh, yes.
That's what I want.
I don't know. As long as at some point I get some, jazz, that'd be good.
There's
Defiant
actually a
jazz.
Defiant Jazz playlist on iTunes,
Oh
Apple
my
Music
God.
now. You want to really immerse yourself.
I do.
I only want the Defiant Jazz if I get to have all the accoutrements that comes with the Defiant Jazz and a tote bag.
I mean, you can make the lights change color in your house, right?
Sure.
I'll just there.
Wait a
What's
second.
your percussion of choice, Dion?
Ooh, there I go. That's also freaking out the camera. It's going, what color is going on? I would probably choose the steel drum.
Oh. Bold.
I know that it wasn't an option. I'm just going to wait until they make it.
Right. Okay. Well, it's a bold choice.
A bold choice.
Yeah. But then again, this is a show that is full of bold choices, and currently I've realised that my bold choice is sitting in this chair where the gas is going out of it. So every now and then, I'm just going to go...
slowly going down.
I'm going to say, one of the things that I really like about this premise is that when you first hear the premise, you think, oh, that's a fucking great idea.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It seems like such a great concept. Wouldn't it be awesome if I didn't have to think about my work while I'm at home?
Ever just turn up at work and blink and it's finished, and then I can just live my life. What a great idea. Until you start watching the show that you kind of think about the flip side.
Yeah.
What flip side? They don't know about that.
Yeah.
Like, this is one of the greatest futurism television shows I've seen since Westworld. Which also has the same sort of like internal versus external structure, but yeah. Anyway, I still think it is the lesser of the two shows starting with S that we've watched reviewed in the last couple of weeks. But
I disagree.
Yeah.
While I apologise, I did not join you for last week's review. I have actually watched both shows and enjoyed both of them. But I really enjoyed the experience of watching Severance every week as it dropped.
Yeah.
I didn't. It was fucking awful because after every episode I was like, God, what's going on?
I know. Every episode there's a cliffhanger. Peter and I were screaming at each other for a number of weeks. We were like, what?
I will actually attest to that. Like, it's probably the only show that I've watched the physical pain of both Jill and Peter standing there going, but we've seen the last one and that can't be where it ends, right? Like, that's not where the final episode of season 1 ends.
Chats for spoiler section, guys. But before we get there, should we synopsize?
Yes, absolutely. Do we have any Defiant Jazz at all?
No Defiant Jazz, but maybe a little bit of
Yeah. Oh, yes.
No. Mark S. leads a team of office workers whose memories have been surgically divided between their work and personal lives. When a mysterious colleague appears outside of work, it begins a long journey to discover the truth about their jobs and their entire lives. Severance. I like it. I think Dion's may actually have been longer, but there you go. I love the intro to this. I just love it.
It's so creepy.
Yeah, super creepy.
Really sets a tone.
Yeah, but also I remember, oh God, how many, 5-10 years ago, there was this sort of like thing on the internet where there was these videos that would do the round where they'd gotten like a human body model and then treated it as if it was a balloon or something like that. And they'd, kind of pour these bodies out, and then they'd just kind of like, it was somebody fucking around with high-end rendering system. So it looked really great. But these bodies kind of just flipping around and stuff like that, and like doing things that bodies aren't meant to do. And there's elements of that in this. Like there's a point where, they're walking past and he's pulling like what looks like a collection of balloons, but the balloons are all bodies of people in suits. And he's kind of dragging them along through the snow, and you're like, oh, yeah, weird.
Have you thought about laying off ketamine, Quinny?
You may be right. I probably should ease off that. And
just a suggestion.
You know what? I'm going to go finding those videos so I don't sound like a complete fucking weirdo.
Bye. Off you go.
Yeah, this is going to be a very difficult thing to search for. And
yeah.
What's that
Body
weird balloon thing where it melts into something?
Rubbery body.
Oh no, you don't want to get those search results.
Yeah, no, that's already gone bad.
No.
Oh my goodness.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to regret this, but anyway. So anyway, how did we come to find this show? Who was the first instigator of it? Was it you, Pete?
Yeah, I like the Apple TV stuff. So this piqued my interest when they dropped the trailer originally. So I was kind of watching for the launch and started it up right away. And Apple TV often does that thing where they drop 2 episodes initially. So you kind of you get in the space for a binge. You go like episode 1, episode 2. Why? Why is there no episode 3? But it's a really good strategy because 1 episode might not get you hooked, but 2 definitely does. And I'm really glad I did it like that because it's such a good structure for the enjoyment of having to wait a week to get that satisfying, next piece of the story. Obviously, I think it would be, great to be binged as well, but watching it, in that kind of old-fashioned weekly drop, I think enhanced the experience for me.
Yeah,
it's good that we also got to see some young up-and-coming actors. The wonderful new talent, I think, Christopher Walken showing up there, and John Turturro.
Don't know those kids.
Patricia Arquette, she'll go far. Because what I kind of liked about this was when you'd said, oh, you should watch Severance, or that, I started looking for it, and one of the things that hit me straight away was like, oh yeah, it's made by Ben Stiller, or he's the executive producer behind it, and I was like, oh, that should be funny.
Well, and it is kind of.
I don't know.
Well, made by Ben Stiller, starring Adam Scott. You could think of a comedic element. No,
we've all watched Parks and Recreation. We know what Adam Scott's like.
Fuck you.
We'll shame you at any chance, Quinny.
Every time. Adam Scott did a lot of great work in Parks and Recreations for 5 seasons.
Good. Well, I look forward to watching them. Never.
Well, next thing you'll be telling me you don't even like Little Sebastian, Quinny.
If you want a hug, go to hell. Find your mum.
And then also in The Good Place. But Adam Scott. He's okay.
Yeah. I think it must have been you, Pete, who suggested it. And I was kind of like, okay, I don't know much about it until, you read the synopsis, and that central concept I love. I love high concept sci-fi, which is also lo-fi. There's nothing particularly, hard.
It's just the retro vibe about it.
Yeah, and the idea is the thing that this is getting you through, of what if you could split your mind, and what if you could divide your world up so that this part of you never knew about this part of you, and wouldn't that be interesting, and wouldn't that be cool and sound like a great idea? And then it's not. And I love that. I think that's such a cool concept. And then the way that they play with it, and the way that they show it, and the way that they kind of demonstrate how it works throughout the course of the first however many episodes is really interesting. like, where they're showing that, if you go through this door, you walk straight back through that door. If you go in the lift, you just shut down. You never see what's at the top of the lift. All that kind of stuff I really like, because when you think about it, you think, oh, how would that work? What would that feel like? And this then explains it, and you start to go, oh, actually, that's horrible.
Well, I mean,
did not think this through.
It's kind of that creeping dread stuff. Like it's not really a thriller, although occasionally you feel thriller. Like it's two kind of very different, very crazy worlds. Like it feels like near future, like not quite futuristic, but just about 10 years ahead. It could be easily set 10 years ahead, or even 5 years ahead, where because it goes to great lengths to create a massive division in style and tone between the working life and the real life, whatever you say, or we're just going to refer to it as outie life and innie life, as they do in the show. Yeah. So outies is your outside life outside of work, and innies is your inside work, and they have two very distinct storylines that are running at the same time. Which it's okay. It's just I feel like. For anyone who's ever worked in an office job where there is no windows or where it feels very trapped, it sounds okay. It's like I could separate my work life and my home life, and then you realize, wait, one half of you has no experiences outside of work. It is just work.
Yeah.
Your only experiences come from work.
Yeah. Your day starts as you arrive at work, and
not even outside. Like literally, like I walk into an elevator and then I walk out of it, and like it could be, who knows? Your sense of time is done. Also, in this one, they don't have any windows in their office, and that freaks me out.
It's a very depressing setting. Like everything is so large and open, but there's no windows, so it still feels amazingly claustrophobic. But I just kind of love the weird quirkiness about the production value.
Yeah, and cold. Like all the walls are cold, and then occasionally you'll get like a piece of carpet or something that is a different color.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh wow, it's shocking. And there's that bit where they go to see the Lumon Museum, which is just like, oh, this is fucking weird.
Yeah. That's when it starts to feel like really, are they in a cult?
I mean,
it's funny.
I find it interesting, and only because this ties in quite well. The production designer for Severance, Jeremy Hindle, is actually the production designer for Top Gun Maverick as well. So that's just a hilarious kind of, idea for me. Like, not only did he do this show, Severance, but also Top Gun Maverick and Zero Dark 30. They are three very different types of shows, unless, of course, Severance is going to take a real hardline military turn, which it could do in season 2. I'm not sure.
Look, good to know that guy's got a really versatile work experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the characters, so I guess we should probably talk about the four,
sure.
Yeah, the four main characters that we follow. So obviously the first one that we see the most of is Marquez, who we actually get to see his Innie and Outie. But we're actually introduced to the series through Helly R. And I think she's probably the most interesting one to me. Because even though we don't see necessarily what's going on in her Outie life, she's probably the most rebellious and she's the one that you kind of feel like, yeah, I'd probably be a lot like that.
Yeah.
If the other half of me had decided, no, fuck it, you're going to spend your entire life in a hole, I would probably be like, no, I want out. I want fucking, I don't agree to this.
I think I'd be like Mark.
She doesn't adjust.
I'm very compliant.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
She doesn't adjust to Severance life very easily. And I do begin to wonder, like, there's so many psychological elements to the show. Like, I don't know that I could put myself in that perspective of how would I act in that space, because it is kind of depressing to think that if you're at your 9 to 5 job, you don't have the luxury of giving your brain a break to think about something else, like to think about the nice things that you do outside of work, which I suppose is why they try to, bribe everybody with these dance parties, waffle parties, like getting pats on the back for their work.
Dion's gone silent.
Well, sorry, the corporatized reward things, which is just very strange. Like that I couldn't really get it. But also,
just feels
I love how shit the rewards are.
I know, they're so depressing.
Can someone, okay, we talked about the high concept stuff, which is like, okay, what is the concept? You have a separation between work and life. But first off, like, we've talked about how the production does. Someone explain to me, what the fuck does Lululemon do?
As in, well,
I pronounce it Lululemon.
Lululemon.
It's one word.
Lumon Industries is the world's leading biotechnology company, making life better for all humanity. And with our acclaimed Severance technology, we're making the work experience better than ever.
I'm sorry. I was also at like Oz 1989. There just was athleisure clothes, and I was like, the word athleisure makes me gag. Athleisure.
Yeah.
No, thank you. Lumon Industries, we don't know what it does, and that kind of adds to that mystery of like, we don't even really know what these people do in their office job, and their office is weird. Like, I mean, I kind of really want to work there in that way. I want to be severed because I discovered so much about the company that you just didn't know, and I'm like, I'm kind of down for it.
And I find their job is one of those things that is also really deeply weird and disturbing. Like, your job is to look at bunches of numbers, and when one of them scares you, put it in a bin.
I know.
And
like, what is it a metaphor for what they're actually completing? It's so terrifying.
Are they actually
and there's also that question
goats?
of like, are they actually looking at numbers, or are they looking at pieces of data that their mind has been told to not see? Like, because that whole thing of like, you can't take things out, you can't leave messages on, and they say, oh, there's a scanner that will show, that there's any written word. That's all bullshit technology, surely. So, have they reprogrammed the Innie's brain so spectacularly that what they see and what they like, is there a room that actually has goats in it? Fuck only knows.
I mean, like, this part of the thing. Like, the whole thing is the series is designed to make you feel uncomfortable when you're inside, but then also it makes you feel uncomfortable when you're in the Innie world, but then it also makes you feel sad when you're in the outer world. Like,
sorry, I just want to shout out to Peta, who says that I like to think that Lumon is a competitor to Viridian Dynamics from Better Off Ted. I think these are fucking companion shows. And what's more, I'm pretty sure they also work with Aperture Dynamics or Aperture Science.
Oh, yes. Aperture Labs.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it'd be pretty fun if they eventually went to the Black Mesa complex. I mean,
honestly, I could see it. I could totally imagine that. And if at one point suddenly Viridian Dynamics is revealed as being a major competitor, I'd be like, fuck yes. And for anyone that doesn't know or hasn't seen it, Better Off Ted is a sitcom that is kind of also about weird science and corporate stuff, but it's a lot more comedy. But also
that
fucking
movie, Weird Science. It had all those other
things. I love Weird Science.
Yeah, sorry.
Boingo. Anyway, so sorry, we got halfway through it. We got Marquez, Heliar, and is it Dylan?
Yeah.
Sorry, I have to Dylan G.
Yep. And Irving.
Yeah.
Like rounding
Who's
it
our
off.
favorite?
I really like Dylan.
Really?
Yeah. Because
cool.
I feel like because there's a whole thing in there, like Dylan in this show when he's on we only really see him as an Innie, And as an innie, he is like totally working the system to get as much benefit for himself and is kind of ruthless about himself. And we haven't learnt enough about him on the outside, but I feel like on the outside, he's probably lovely.
Yeah.
And absolutely wonderful. And it's just kind of like, I feel like we don't learn it. But this is part of the mystique and wonder of the show. Like, we don't know how it all comes together. And the slow little tidbits we start to learn as the show progresses towards the climax of the first season is really what pulls us along with the tension. I mean, I just kind of like Dylan because he's just down for swag. Like, what have you got? How many numbers have I got to crunch before I get a stapler? And if that's your life because you don't remember what the fuck's going on outside, that's probably what my life would be like too. I'd be like, fuck yeah, letterheads. Let's do it.
It's a terrific, comment on how the corporate system actually works.
Yeah.
Bare your soul and give everything for, some kind of shit thing that actually isn't going to cost the company anything.
Yeah,
but you feel like you've been rewarded.
Is it the reward of a pizza party? We need you to work overtime. Pizza party.
I kind of did that last week though.
Yeah.
It's not always bad.
Yeah, but you only had to work 12 hours of overtime. It's amazing. And they only provide you with $3 worth of pizza. Best.
Yeah, it's amazing. And my personal favourite is Irving. Irving B. John Turturro in a very, very unusual John Turturro role. Like, I wouldn't say this is anything like I've seen him do before.
Really?
And, yeah. Like, I mean, there's something so extraordinarily buttoned down about him that I just love it. And I love the sort of growing relationship between him and Bert. That is some fucking cute shit.
I know, it was my favorite.
Yeah, and I kept on watching that and just being like, oh, I want good things for you, Irving, even though you're an idiot who,
Oh,
I think this is one of the most wonderful things about the entire show. Every character we meet, we want good things to happen.
You hope they will, yeah.
Well, actually, maybe I'll rephrase that. Every character who works in the regular section and not management, you want good things to happen. So it makes it kind of difficult to find a hero or someone to latch onto. But by the end of it, I'm actually rooting for all of them. I'm like, please tell me what the fuck is going on. And I hope they all get a nice life by the end or whatever. But it didn't happen that way, did it? And it was fucked.
Well,
and it means I'm going to have to watch season 2. But I'm really busy trying to catch up on season 2. So I don't know where I'm going to find the time.
why?
Well, Apple can do no wrong with their programming, according to Peta.
I don't believe those words came out of my mouth. Thank you very much.
I'm paraphrasing, Peta.
Oh, a lot.
Thank you very much. I believe I reviewed C. I think I made it through 2 episodes of C and then reviewed it because that's how much I respected that show.
Yes, it needed to get
precisely the right amount. Because more than that would have been foolish.
There's something that feels really kind of self-contained about this entire world. Not just the office that is kind of meant to feel somehow both nebulous and claustrophobic, but Mark S's Outie world, which is so emotionally constrained. There's I really liked how they kind of give this idea that he's psychologically constrained himself to try to kind of free himself, but in his outie life he hasn't freed himself at all. He's trapped himself on many levels. So there was that continuous feeling of claustrophobia even outside of the setting of the office that I think kind of helped carry the show. Because I feel like if you'd kind of left that strange office setting and that reminds me a little bit of that. What was that one that we watched, Jill? The Kevin Can Go Fuck Himself.
Oh yeah.
How it kind of like switches from sitcom land to the darkness. This was just kind of different flavors of dark
Yeah.
all the way
and
through.
different flavors of cold. Like 'cause
Interesting to
inside-
set the story during winter. So every time you're in Outie land, it's just snowing and bleak and
Yep.
just awful.
So Minnesota, eh?
Yeah. Well, it definitely has that feeling, and I love the little reveals too. Like as you went in terms of who was around and everything, and I think by the end of the first episode, I think you've gotten to the point where Mrs. Cobell, the boss, has shown up, and you're like, oh, right, okay, and immediately that made me start going, okay, so hang on, is this like an entire gated community virtually, like that? They tell them that you're free to go home, but they're not. Like,
I mean, this is
they're
the
living and they're observed both at home and at work. And
are they all severed? Are they not severed? Is it just
Exactly.
one giant experiment?
Exactly.
Is this just another Westworld park?
Oh,
I mean, these are all the questions that you
These
end
are all
up,
the questions.
asking.
Yeah.
I would love to jump into some spoilers because we can't really talk about any of those questions and whether they were answered without kind of spoiling the thing.
Kind of spoiling.
Yeah.
Very, very spoilery.
Well, the other thing that this does really well is pacing, because it is a slow burn, but there is enough question and answer going on in the way they're kind of making you question things and giving you just enough answers to make you interested in the next question. I think it's interesting to watch something that is such a slow burn, but to look forward to watching it every week as much as I did with
Why
this.
does it give you just a few answers and then many more fucking questions?
yes.
Because I have some things to say about maybe the second last episode where I was like, with the reward that Dylan gets.
Oh, yeah.
I have
He's
way
waffle
more fucking
party.
questions after that
So
one.
many
I'm like,
questions.
yeah. You get an overnight stay. Oh, okay. Whoa. Why are there people dancing in mass? Anyway, yeah.
What was that reward? Was that the waffle party?
That was the
That was
waffle
the waffle
party.
party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the waffle party that he'd been going on about.
And that makes me go, has he had a waffle party before?
Yeah. See? So many
No,
questions that is just interesting.
so.
Like, how do they know even what a waffle party is? Did someone get one and be like, oh, yeah, a waffle party's great? Anyway, like, you see all those things,
Yeah. Like,
Was it a waffle party or was it one of those Rothschilds Illuminati parties? Like,
Yeah,
we'll never know.
I feel like this is either wide shut territory.
Yes.
There are a couple of other characters that we haven't talked about just before we do go into
Sure.
spoilers and ratings and stuff like that. So Patricia Arquette as Harmony Cobell is amazing.
Miss
She's
Casey.
she's the boss. There's one that I enjoy, who's just fucking annoying. Rickon.
He's great.
Rickon.
So annoying.
Yeah.
I love it.
I love our homegirl Deachin as Miss Casey.
Yeah.
I love her
You're all
so
bitching on
much.
there.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I feel like it's kind of close to another show that she was on, but we'll wait
Yeah,
till
a little-
spoilers to
Oh,
talk about
Dollhouse?
that. Yeah.
Dollhouse.
Yeah. Just a little.
She
I
kind of
know,
she's
but-
making a good name for herself playing a bunch of tabula rasas.
I mean, she's
Sure, you
done
call
other
it a
things. I think
Oh, yeah.
I think she's terrific. She's one of these people who I will watch a series that she's in just to kind of see how it is, because I just find her very watchable.
love Deachin. She's
She's a
great.
very, very interesting person. That's the thing. Like, doing pretty good for a chick from Adelaide.
yeah.
What are you talking about that? We've got
Nothing.
we've got another Australian coming up in a different Disney show, but we'll talk about Ahsoka later.
Yeah.
Back to
But
this.
also, then there's the people within the business who, you're not sure as to whether they're good, bad, indifferent. And I love Mr. Milchick, who there is something about him that is like both corporately friendly and terrifying at the same time. And I love the really interesting tension that they find with these characters. Because we've all had a supervisor in work of some description who wants to be your friend,
Yeah.
but doesn't.
But I mean, there's a couple of other ones on there. There was, Petey. Petey is a fun character for a while, and Doug. Doug is way more menacing. Doug is the head of security.
Yeah.
That was there for a while, and yeah.
And then there is this whole fucking weird background thing of the Egan family and the Lumon Industries, and there is this. It's interesting, the vibes that I got from this, and it's a weird place to dig them from, but there is some Bioshock vibes, some massive, massive Bioshock vibes in this.
Okay.
Yes.
Which to the people who play the games will recognize it, but basically it's this idea of the savior corporate raider, in a way, like the person who's built an industry that has saved a group of people and has now become their own god, basically.
Kind of very Ayn Randian to the nth degree of like individual exceptionalism should not be regulated and is the thing that's going to save us. So you can just join on with that. If someone's really good at something, then everything they do is right.
Yes.
Which kind of sounds like corporations these days. Let's be honest.
Little bit.
That's why they all, turn rainbow at this kind of time of the year.
Yeah.
Yep.
All corporations are great. Anyway.
Right. So shall we do a rating or do we do a clip and then a rating? We just do a fucking rating. Why break the fucking
throw us out? Quinny, we've already done a rating. We did that when we were innies. We're currently in the Outie session. Just because you don't remember it doesn't mean it didn't happen.
It's kind of like we watched some episodes until we felt really, really afraid, and we put them in a box, and that was our rating.
My outie listens to pop culture podcasts. My outie has just had a beautiful meal.
Fuck. Anyway, okay.
My outie is looking forward to his dessert.
Okay, stop talking to Quinny's waffle party idea. Jill, please give us a rating.
Oh God. Straight away. I'm gonna give it 92. I really fucking enjoyed this series. It's just got everything that ticks boxes for me, like weird psychological trauma-y stuff, kooky set design, super high concept, like plots. It was a great cast. I enjoyed all of it, and I can't wait for the second season.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jill.
I was going to say 90, but I'm going to match Jill at 92. Because I agree. Like, I really, really, really enjoyed the experience of watching this show. It's definitely not my 100 level joy of Ted Lasso, because it is designed to make you feel uncomfortable, and that's what it says on the box. But it's a very well constructed piece of storytelling. And I think that the experience I had was exactly the experience that was intended when they made it. And like season 2 had better drop in the not too distant future, because fuck these guys.
That sounds like a threat.
Or what, Peter?
Yeah, well, if you get your numbers up, Peter, then maybe you'll get a season 2 tote bag. You could do.
Yeah. Dion, do you have a number? Is it a scary number?
How does it make you feel?
Yes, it's a scary number.
Where did the number touch you?
Wow.
It touched me on my x-axis. Thank you very much.
Why?
Cause there's a sign. No, wait. Sorry. Okay. Look, I had a really good time with it, and honestly, I got a little frustrated because I was hoping it was going to go a place that it didn't go. But that's okay. Like, I mean, it was good. It's a psychological thing. Also, I watched it sporadically. Like, I watched a couple of episodes and then took a break and then came back to it and got a little confused. And then things went around. And I was like, kind of watching it going, and I was like trying to get through it. And like, maybe I didn't do it right. But anyway, look, I give it like an 85. Okay. Is that okay? I just want to go a bit.
Rating, dude.
I just want to go a bit low. Like, it sounds like it's lower, but I mean, also, I got confused slightly with this show and the movie Severance, which is in 2006,
Oh.
which
What
I,
is-
I watched back in that day. And that is literally about a corporate retreat where a bunch of people from a corporation go on a retreat and end up getting hunted down in a forest. And it's a dark comedy. Like, I mean, honestly, that's what it's fun. It's kind of funny. And I recommend it. Like, if you can search it out, go find Severance. 2006 Severance movie. It's German English comedy, and it has a very funny scene in it, about a pool. But it's like one of those ones, like, oh, why are people getting stabbed? Anyway, yeah, go watch Severance. Not this Severance.
Please watch this Severance too, though.
Yeah, just two very different comedies. But I don't know. I feel like the TV show could turn into the movie at any stage.
Right. The lead actor of the movie Severance from 2006 is somebody called Danny Dyer, who, to anyone who listens to my favorite podcast, knows that Danny Dyer sounds like this. Oh my god! Oh no! So
does he?
Yeah. Oh my god! Oh no! Danny Dyer.
It's got interesting people in it, like Toby Stevens, Tim McInnerny.
Oh,
like, looks interesting, but yeah, that's not what we're rating. Yeah, look, for me, it's a 91. Just because I couldn't bring myself to go higher than 92. So I didn't want to have 3 92s because I have no good reason.
Okay.
Yeah. I really, really, really enjoyed it. I watched it sort of drip fed because I wasn't watching it week to week. By the time that we were watching it, it was all out. So we could kind of, watch the whole thing. But this is one of those shows that really does work best when you're not binging it. I think the joy of it is the cliffhanger and the thought and the wonder and going, oh, shit, because it is so cerebral. It's about ideas. And I think the creeping dread that you mentioned, Dion, is part of the greatness of it, that you have to let things settle for a while for them to really creep you out. Like the waffle party. The more you think about that, the more you go, the fuck that about? The room with some goats in it.
I don't want to.
The fuck is that about?
I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to be
No.
here now. It's not my workplace. I want to go home now. How do you take a sickie?
Well, one of them shows up and is actually not feeling well one day. And you're like, oh, yeah. And so you would have this constant thing of going, what happened to me?
Well, we'll get into that spoiler because I feel that's very spoilery to talk about some of those different personalities versus innies and outies.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Look, thank you. Let's go do clips and we'll come back and my chair will hopefully go up again.
How many numbers have you crunched today, which will decide on what clip you get to watch?
I want to watch the jazz thing.
All right, then. You seem to have hit your quota for this month, Jill, so we'll give you the jazz one.
Nice.
Good day, refiners.
What's this? It's an MDE.
She got to 75%.
LER, please step forward.
MDE?
By reaching 75% refinement on Sienna, you have earned for you and your fellow refiners a 5-minute music dance experience.
Mr. Milchek, she's at 73%.
Yes, well, it's been a tough morning on all of us.
Why for you?
And I thought a little frivolity would be just what the doctor ordered. Helly, please approach the MDE cart. You may choose one genre and one accessory. The maraca. Excellent choice.
Should have gone for the castanets.
I choose Defiant Jazz.
Though this experience is in Helly's honor, I urge all the refiners to take advantage of the opportunity presented.
Whoa, wow. Okay.
Uh-oh.
Harvey, what you got? Let's see it.
Oh yeah, a bit of defiant jazz. Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, sorry.
Spoiler logo time. All right, it's up.
Ooh.
All right, be fairly warned if you haven't seen this. I don't know why you're joining us with this part if you haven't seen it, but
I noticed that Bren has now gotten
Exited the chat.
it's fine.
Yeah.
Totally acceptable. It's okay. We're just trying to encourage you to go and watch it and then, join in with this or like talk to us about it. But
I'm very excited that I've blown somebody's mind, Peta Kangaroo. Yeah.
what the fuck is happening?
Mm.
End of question. I just have questions about everything. It's like, how did they get into this space? Where did this come from? What are they actually doing at work? What is Christopher Walken doing at work? Why are there baby goats? How come there's some sort of weird fuck party? What the fuck is going on?
Was there actually an insurrection where one of the things started attacking the other?
One of the
other
departments
group?
attacked the other department and ate their flesh. Like,
And
Yeah.
sure.
I would have loved to have seen that weird
Yep.
office civil
Why are there
war.
like strange? Why are there strange fucking wax sculptures of people? Why on the outside is Helly part of the Eigen family? What is it? No, Egan.
Yeah,
Egan.
Egan.
Yes.
Family or like something like that. Like, what the fuck is going on? How come you can
fucking good.
still get extension cords and try and it's so depressing. This is not a great show. Like, how do you say that? It's like, oh, right, go watch this show. Someone tries to top themselves. That's amazing.
It was confronting getting a suicide warning at the start of a show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was a hard suicide attempt too. Like it felt really like, oh shit, this is sometimes they cut away or they will.
Oh yeah.
This was very much like, oh shit, right, okay, I'm glad you gave the warning. Fucking hell.
But I'm glad that they just in the show, I'm glad they don't shy away from anything because you're already confused. You're like, but why am I watching this? Is this a dream? Oh no, it's oh fuck, right, okay.
But I feel like the suicide attempt was more of a threat to her outie than a genuine suicide attempt. She wanted her outie to know that she could hurt her.
Well, that's where it went.
But still pretty confronting.
It went both ways. It's like, the Innie threatened the outie, so the outie reprimanded the Innie, and then the Innie went, well, fuck you, I can actually have control over my life. And that's the interesting dynamic, I think, across all of this is the outies and the Innies and how people are trying to establish control and why they underwent severance and whether or not severance can be reversible and what's the whole goal here,
And then seeing how the reversal of severance affects Petey. And you start realizing, oh shit, hang on, this is a really violent thing that's been done to them. And any attempt or any crossover is actually really quite damaging. You're like, oh shit, right, okay, fuck.
Yeah.
And oh man. I just love the concept. I love the concept. And then I love that they spend their time so smartly exploring it.
On a waffle party.
Okay, so what are the biggest questions? What are the biggest questions that you have, Pete?
I mean, there are so many questions. My biggest problem with the series is it has an uneven number of episodes. So I didn't realise that I had watched the finale when I watched the finale until Jill said, "Did you watch the?" Or somebody in the chat said, "Did you watch the finale?"
Me.
I swear it was.
And I was like,
me,
"Was
it was
that the fucking finale?"
Yes, I had that realization. I was like, watch the last episode. I'm like, oh shit, can't wait for fucking next week. And next week's never going to come.
Oh, it was Peta Kanga. Yes, it was Peta Kanga in the chat who was like, "Did you watch the last episode?" I'm like, "That wasn't the last episode.
Yeah,
that was
then
episode 9.
That's
Episode
right.
10 will be coming, right?"
We both went, wait, what?
Because it's a weird amount of, in the season, wasn't it? Like it's like everyone will go, "Oh, there were 9 episodes." Like, no, there's got to be like 10.
No,
It's got to be like 10. They can't leave it there, can they? I mean, that was a good finale. At least that was one where I was like, "Oh shit!"
It was so tense the entire episode.
It came after a very tense episode previously, where like they spent the entire episode getting to the point where they're about to switch to switch on the failsafe that gives them the consciousness in the outside world. Overtime. And they spent the entire episode getting there, and all you want to do is get there, and then obviously like the episode ends immediately before that thing happens. So it was a couple of episodes of like just high tension and wanting the next plot point to happen. So finding out that it wasn't a few days to wait, but potentially much longer was an irrit. But whatever, clever of them. What do we think about Miss Casey and what the fuck is going on there?
Well, as the series was progressing, I was starting to wonder, because they make a point of, Dylan having a crush on Miss Casey. And then you do get to see his outside life where he's got a family. And you're like, shit, like that's something that I haven't thought about, because they do say, they poo-poo office romances because obviously people know each other at work, or they have lives outside of work, and you can't be messing up your Outie's marriage by falling in love with someone at the office. But
or potentially, what if you are banging your sister? Or,
So that made me start to wonder.
You're into Star Wars. This has been a thing for you for a long time. You don't get to judge me.
That whole you went just straight to banging your sister. I mean, I just thought it was like, it's actually like Severance procedure. It encourages workplace romance because you don't have, like, to that 7th person, you don't have a life outside.
Well, like with the romance that developed between Bert and Irving, it made me start to wonder, are they a couple in Outie life? Like, could it just be that they're drawn to each other?
It was so tender and lovely.
It was.
Oh, God, they were adorable.
Just adorable.
And then it just made me start to question, well, what actually happened to Mark's wife? Because they keep talking about her death, and it seems very poignant. And
well, that's because I mean, like I like how they established at the start. It's like on the outside, he's a raging alcoholic who is not dealing very well with his wife's death, and that gives
you never got to see what she looked like.
Yeah,
so it was
until
like
the final episode.
And then
but that was the whole point. It was like you don't know what actually happened and who she was or anything like that. So all the questions that were surrounding it just kind of stirred the pot a little bit. But I was very devastated to find out that Irving and Bert weren't together in Outie life.
It's interesting.
That Irving was like quite solitary and seemed kind of sad.
He had a dog.
Just him and his dog.
Yeah.
And his painting.
And his paintings that are just like this weird memory of a corridor.
Going to
a corridor that we see at the end of the series.
Is that where the corridor is him going to the wellness sessions, is it?
No, it's the corridor that that Milchick sends Miss Casey down when she's going, I think, back down to the basement or wherever they're keeping her. They've basically decommissioned her.
Yeah.
It's that corridor. So that makes you think, why has Irving seen that corridor, and why is that a memory that his Outie has somehow retained?
But also, why does Mark not have any instinct towards Miss Casey at all? Like, you gotta just Don't you
He
want to
did.
believe
I
in
thought-
love?
I
You know,
thought- I
like
thought he did.
they
Like,
had some connection outside. You want to believe that he would recognize her and on the inside.
I think that he did. Like, there's the occasional thing where it's slowly. I feel like Mark is falling for Helly,
Mm.
Yeah.
but I think he keeps looking at Miss Casey and knowing that there's something there.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, this is this wonderful thing about the whole show. The whole show starts with a very simple premise, puts it in a way that, like, wow, what a boring office, and then just adds complication by letting it go and go, actually, it's real terrible, and people are suffering.
Yeah. This
Anyway.
is a terrible version of slavery. And it's scary, and it makes no sense, and it puts them not just in a thing they can't escape from, but also a thing they can't understand.
Yeah.
So you've essentially created weird children that have no context for the world, but they've got adult consciousness, but they have no memories. So you've just created this weird subclass of people, and then you drop them into a hellscape.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a good point I see Predakango has made in there as well, which is, when someone retires, they are effectively dead.
Yeah.
Like, once you leave one of those sections, like maybe, like, what's the other way around? What happens if you decide, I don't want to go back, I just want to work for the rest of my life? Maybe that's what Mark's wife chose. She was, I didn't want to live out there anymore, I just want to work. I'm sick of it. Like, it's an interesting thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. She's just, maybe it was her choice, and maybe they've got a video
No,
of her going,
I'm thinking that Lumon has done something weird and they had to stage her death.
Yeah.
I mean, considering they own probably most of the town, they are weird. Also, I'm fascinated with, like, this whole Lumon concept. Like, it is just fucking fucked up.
And I love that they also start, expanding that a little further by the introduction of the senator and his wife, who uses Severance to have a baby.
No, more than one. She had 3 kids.
Yeah. And you're
And
like,
she
oh,
never
okay, so it's not just tied to the workplace. This can be a thing that's done anywhere,
was
even
weird.
though they say that it's not.
Sure. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah. I mean, come on, this is one of those dark future Black Mirror shit technologies where you're just like, hey, do you want someone to never remember what happened? We can just switch them on and off, right? Like, that's not good.
Yeah.
Like, this is a whole bunch of
giving me-
questions that are going on. Like, all of the people who turned up in the waffle party that were there, are they severed?
Mm.
Do they not have any idea what they do at work? Do they go home and go, why have I got an STI? That kind of thing.
Why do I smell
We
of-
don't know
of-
exactly what was going to happen.
No.
That's making some assumptions there.
Also, you've got to fuck in the founder's bed. That's
There
weird.
was a lot of maple syrup, however.
Yeah. It's like you're gonna have.
Can't have a dry waffle, Quinny.
That's right.
There are 3 people in that room, and no dry waffles at all are allowed.
Predakango in the chat was saying that he thinks that they were testing whether Mark S would have any instinctive feelings towards Miss Casey, and that was, the experiment they were running, or one of the experiments they were running. Just all feels like a giant experiment
It
to
feels
me.
very
But I
much
think
like
one of the things that I
Fallout.
really love about the series is that we've left with more questions we came in with.
Missy's just brought up that Amazon Prime
Significantly.
did a series called Tales from the Loop on this, and yes, we may have reviewed it.
We have reviewed Tales.
We
from the Loop.
certainly
It's
did.
kind of different.
Yeah,
than that.
well, I mean, our Innie has reviewed it. I don't know. I haven't listened to that episode.
Yeah, my Outie does not listen to this show.
Rude.
Yeah.
We want
Like,
to
I love.
go to both
Oh, yeah.
audiences, innies and outies.
Yeah, we're cross-pollinating. It's very exciting. I love the way that there is this, as you say, creeping sense of dread, but everything sort of feels like it's kind of safe in a way. Like nothing particularly bad is actually going to happen to you in the
I wouldn't
workplace.
say safe. I would say very highly controlled.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah.
I like that they, it is very highly controlled and it gets worse and worse as they're experiencing more rebellion within, the workplace. And it's not actually rebellion, it's just curiosity.
Yeah, and you can't help but have that as a human being. So it having such tight control on your severed workers, you can see that it starts to unravel.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like this whole thing seems like everyone once you go through the series, it seems to me like everyone who's in there who's working for Lumon Industries in their severed space, I feel like everyone had an issue. Like they're all kind of broken people. And they've done this because they want to have some sort of experience that they don't have to worry about anymore. Which makes it very interesting because it just presents you with all the people who are working inside. Like, oh, they're all nice and normal and they get on and everyone has a fun little workspace. But actually, fundamentally, they're broken people. So it could be, as I think was posited, a giant psychological experiment. Does this sort of stuff affect you, or can you, neutralize it with a brain implant instead of a, like a drug, brain chemistry altering thing, like that kind of stuff. But then, also, fuck knows what's going on. Why are there goats?
Who cares? Baby goats are so cute.
They scream like real people. And it's
Also,
not great.
But have you seen them wear onesies and jump around?
Yeah,
They're so cute.
Absolutely, but I don't think that they're doing that. And also, there was that guy in there who goes, "No, they're not ready yet." It's like,
for what?
For what?
Don't look at me, I'm not ready.
And then there's another level of control that we haven't actually mentioned at all, which is the board.
Sure.
The
board of
the board.
Always comes through the
I
earpiece of the
forgot.
secretary,
Yes.
and always listening in that kind of like terrifying non back and
just
forth
silence.
Charlie's Angels.
Just that slight kind of crackle that the microphone is on.
Yeah. Yeah.
But and then that whole thing of like, the board is not going to reply. Shit.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I mean, obviously, I want to see season 2 mainly to like, are you going to answer any of the fucking questions from season 1?
God, I hope it picks up exactly where it left off.
But it is kind of,
has to.
It does very much remind me of Westworld in that kind of a sense, where there are two worlds. Then how do they end up going together? And like, whereas Westworld's very much, kind of standard fare. This is sort of like an art version, and it relies very heavily on the way that the characters present themselves and how they interact. And I mean, it must be a really interesting acting experience, I think, for all of the people in it, because they get to say, it's like, right, you get to play two characters immediately. One is from this side and one from this side, and then you've got to work out how to mesh them together eventually, or however they're going. That it must be fascinating to work on.
I think the interesting thing is that essentially these characters, they are the same person. And I think it's interesting to see how Mark's Innie, coming from a character who, his Outie has basically done a severance because he has given up, and how he responds to the severed environment, as opposed to Helly's Innie, who is in there because Helly's Outie is very driven and feels very in control and has a plan. So how Helly then responds as an Innie to a loss of control is very different. So, this is playing the same character, but with a completely different set of parameters and motivations around how that character is reacting to their environment, which is interesting and makes the show interesting.
That's the thing. They do have the same base personality, but it's like, how do you react when you're in a certain environment with only a certain set of memories?
Sorry, I'm really enjoying the slightly philosophical questions coming up in the chat there about why do we enjoy watching this kind of show? Like my biggest fear that this is another Lost, where they're just making shit up as they go, and they're never going to stick the ending.
No,
but I don't think
as someone that has watched the entirety of Lost, that is definitely a thing of its own, and this is nowhere near that.
No.
So you really hope that the writers have a plan Because as we know from a lot of television shows that have come before, occasionally the writer's like, yeah, we totally got a plan, and they don't. They don't.
Yeah.
I feel like they have a plan because my understanding is that Apple has been ordering series in batches. I'm not 100% certain about that.
That's how we got 2 seasons of C.
Yes, that's how you got 2 seasons of C. I imagine that there is a 2 or 3 series arc planned for this. I hope.
Yeah.
Because it would be weird if they got to the stage that they have got to without any plan for the future.
Do you think that there's some wicked madness going on there, and that the second season of Severance is with a completely separate office and totally different cast?
Better fucking not.
And it would just be like, oh no, we'll return to that in season 3. And people would be like,
yeah. Once again, I love our chat. They're really going into some heavy duty places. And I love the idea that maybe the reason that we enjoy shows like this is because we all do feel a little bit like, there are different versions of ourselves. There's the version that you see on the podcast. There is the version that is, my Quinny at work is very different from Quinny on podcast, and is very different from Quinny around family. So we do compartmentalize ourselves, but yeah, I guess
I've seen you at work, Quinny. You look more like a Yorkshire cattleman. It is strange when you adopt the accent and wear the beret, but
going to work for Lister.
Don't get cows down from panic. Go on then.
Quinny, I'm here to get you to fix my computer. Yeah, that's right. Bring it in. Park it in the back.
It's true though. I mean, I think that's why this show kind of appeals, because it is weird and quirky. And what would we do? And we like to think about all this sort of stuff. I like that it's just curveballs. I mean, these are all just situations that we don't actually have to deal with in our life, so it's much easier for me to get on. So I'm like, wow.
Would any of you be severed?
No. No, because I couldn't handle doing, I don't know, 2 sets of fucking taxes and shopping and other stuff like that.
You have to.
I'd go crazy with fucking not having a break from work. Like if one of my experiences was just relentless work, I'd be insane.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know how I'd feel if I woke up because my Audi was a raging alcoholic, and every day I started work, I would just have a hangover I couldn't fucking explain.
I already feel like I sever myself already. Like as soon as I walk out the door, I'm like, yep, fuck it, deal with it tomorrow. That's
oh my god, I'm so
that's
envious
future
of you.
me problem.
I do like that Peter as yet hasn't answered the question.
Well, I feel like the problem with Dion's theory that he wouldn't do it is that you wouldn't do it because you wouldn't want to be at work all the time. But the persona that's at work all the time isn't the persona that gets to make a choice. The persona that never has to go to the work is the persona that has the control and actually makes the choice.
If you never had to go to work.
And so you can just think about that in any persona as basically he wouldn't exist to you. And that is that's basically what Mark has done.
Are you willing to persecute somebody for your own benefit?
And persecute really yourself, except that you don't have to.
Yeah. So you never actually have to feel guilty about the fact that you're persecuting somebody else. All you're doing is persecuting a part of yourself that will never feel it.
So that's the question. The question is, would you be severed? The question isn't, would you like to have a life where you get the benefits of working but don't actually have to work? The question is, could you make a choice to do that to a person, regardless of whether or not they're a version of yourself?
I'm 95% movie references and memes and pop culture bullshit. So
you're wondering what your severed personality would be, Dion?
Wouldn't have one.
I was going to say,
I mean, it would just be like,
what am I?
Yeah, it'd be like only what I could remember from up till now, and then I'd be sitting at work going, "So what movie did you?" Oh, no one's seen any movies.
Oh.
Okay, yeah, I'd just be like, "Oh god, it'd be boring."
And I think that's kind of what Predakanga's got to there as well. Like, would you essentially blank slate yourself, because that's what you do when you create a severed version of yourself.
This is kind of like...
Which is why I think that I would be a Mark S and just be completely compliant, because, like, I know deep down.
This is kind of like opt-in dementia.
I don't know. Like, as much as I would love to get rid of a lot of the trauma that I've been through, and, like, I got to say, I'm pretty privileged. I haven't been through much, but, you know, it's enough to give me mental issues. It kind of shapes your personality as a person.
Absolutely.
And if I got rid of all of that, I think I'd be pretty boring.
I think one of my favourite quotes that I've ever heard was, funnily enough, from the Five Doctors, which is a person is the sum of their memories. You know, and a Time Lord even more so. But in this case, yeah, you know, we are everything that made us up until now. So if you get rid of all of that, what are you?
Yeah. And like, I quite like myself. And I can't say that I would like myself if I didn't have all of my past experiences that hardened me into the person I am today that takes no shit. I don't think I could go back to like 15 years ago where I was a pushover.
Yeah. Yeah. And I find that that's a big question. And I think that's why the show is so kind of successful, is because it does allow you that time and that amount of space to ask the questions of yourself. You know, and I like that there are people out in the real world who are fighting against Severance because they see it as being slavery and cruelty and stuff like that. But then, yeah, if you've opted into it, is it cruelty?
This is why
in some cases, yes.
You should always read the terms and conditions.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. You can't just agree to all.
You've signed up for Apple, haven't you?
Have I? I don't even know. They could be tracking me right now.
Oh, they are. You know they are.
Sure. I don't know why. And I'm not, unless I'm a baseline for some weird experiment, I'm not really interested.
I would like to always be one of the outliers.
Sure, that's...
Like Spider George?
Absolutely. Like always somewhere on the periphery, throwing fucking numbers out entirely, where people are like, all of these are within the bell curve, and then there's that fucking guy.
Then there's Spider Quinny.
Yeah.
Wait, how long has Casper been here for?
Just lurking.
Come on, Casper. Really?
He's been there the whole time. He's just been eating waffles.
Having a waffle party.
He's having a waffle party. Oh, dear. It's good. Yeah. Look, hey, Severance, go watch it. And then scream.
Have we got another clip that we can go out with?
We can, if you want.
I like the show. I like seeing bits of it. I find it interesting.
I mean, we can go out with one, you know, if you want to go that way instead of going to raid someone else. But before we do go out that way, the thing is like, you want to encourage people to go, like, do you want to advertise for this? Do you want to say, go and watch Severance, get people to watch Severance, look forward to watching Severance?
Heck yes. I even told my sister to go and get like the free trial for Apple TV so she can watch Severance.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And then what after that, like if everyone's cool with that, what are we doing next time?
Well, Friday we're meant to be doing Animates. We're getting Samurai.
Yes.
But that's next month.
Well, yes.
That's tomorrow. Tomorrow's next month.
Shut up, Jill. I haven't made the schedule.
I know. Shut up, Dion. We got to decide it tonight.
Yeah, we're going to do it right now. There are some things that I'm very keen to have you all watch, but at the same time, you know what? It's a discussion. It is a Broadchurch. So
we're doing Broadchurch next week. Excellent. I've watched that.
David Tennant's Broadchurch.
Loved it. It was great.
Yeah. Gave me nightmares. Moving on.
Oh no.
I haven't watched it.
I won't be going to watch Animates because it's The Boys season 3 comes out on Friday.
Oh fuck! We just keep conflicting with stuff, but then at least this week we're not trying to compete with Obi-Wan Kenobi and Stranger Things on the same fucking night.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can do any more with The Boys, guys.
Yeah,
that's fine.
We still haven't got back to reviewing Cobra Kai, which was on the slate for ages ago. We haven't got back to it.
We've reviewed enough. I think we feel like we've said what we need to say about Cobra Kai.
Yeah, I think I've said enough about Cobra Kai. It continues to be Cobra Kai. It's quite good. Go and watch it if you like it.
Yeah, sure. All right. Yeah, we'll have the schedule out hopefully soon. But this
I
Friday,
imagine that Obi-Wan may get a mention in there.
and
Also,
animates.
yeah, there'll be another Animates. There'll probably be some Ms. Marvel in there. You know, there's
Maybe.
a whole bunch of shit happening in June. So, you know, keep
Yeah,
an eye
true.
out
I
for it.
don't know about Obi-Wan just yet because we haven't got through the end. I want to wait till the end of it before
Yes.
we do it,
Okay.
because it's only got
Fair.
eight episodes. So
Right. Okay.
yeah, we can't you can't go too far.
Right.
You can't go
Casper's still waiting for our review of Hit Monkey. He may be waiting some time.
Yeah.
But yes, there will be a June schedule very, very shortly. But yes, Friday Animates, and then next week, well, look, keep an eye out for that schedule.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, we'll get there.
We're going to go to a clip, and then
Yeah.
after that clip is done, we are going to raid Jordan Raskopoulos. So if you
Excellent.
are still around, go and say hi to Jordan.
Thanks, everyone. I hope you enjoyed Severance, or maybe you didn't enjoy this and you severed off your experience of this podcast. We'll see you next time when you wake up for new podcasting on Tuesday.
Your outie is finished listening to a podcast.
All right, I'm going to go to the sweet story between Bert and Irving when they're just angry at each other. They've had a lover's tiff. kind of thing.
One of the sweetest stories of all time.
See you all later. Bye.
Right.
Why did you lie about the number of people in your department?
Because we don't trust you guys.
You, the king of fucks, don't trust us?
I do, but people just talk about MDR, stupid old stories, jokes even. What do you mean?
It's literally silly. Like they say, you all have pouches.
Pouches? Like to carry young?
Yes, according to some. You each have a larval offspring that will jump out and attack if we get too close.
That's fucking psycho.
I mean, it's a joke, of course, but I don't know. The sentiment, somehow holds. People are weird. Though I'd be remiss not to say that in this theory, the larva eventually eats and replaces you.
Oh.
Which Irving would solve the mystery of your youthful energy.
Why did you lie about the...
I wanna live in a world full of heroes, not sit here counting zeros in a cubicle downtown. I wanna look out my window, see 'em flying, and swing across the horizon as I cheer 'em on so proud. See, power girl,